I'm sharing my screen. So this is my study area. Okay, this is my, I am taking Bangalore as my study area. So now I will do everything in Bangalore. So already you can show you exactly what I'm going to create today. Okay. And see, this is the end map I'm going to show. So this is the site suitability, which this is the final output. I will show you in each and every step what I had done here. Okay. So look at this beautiful map. This is our end goal. So you can see that green color, yellow color, red color. So and I had also mentioned in the legend what it is. So with this itself, you can understand that I'm going to tell something about site analysis. So the means green area represent low suitable. So it is not suitable for your new building to be constructed. Okay, and the next one is moderate suitable. So whether it's moderate suitable, it's okay, but I'm not quite it's like that. It's like okay. So after that, the third one is highly suitable. You can definitely build buildings here, and it is a safe environment. So I'm going to use certain parameters. So the only thing in this webinar is I'm going to teach you how to think. Okay, I cannot teach you as it's not a spoon feeding. Okay, I will be teaching you how to think, to do for your own project. So with my explanation in site suitability, you can analyze for your particular objective. For maybe you may be thinking about how to find a workplace or something else, or create a new hospital. So you have to apply the same application. Okay. So this is a pretty picture. I can see that it's telling me a story. Okay, and I'm going to use certain parameters. So these are the parameters I'm going to use, like land use data. So land use of Bangalore I had created. So for land use, what is mean by land use? It's just which is already there. I didn't even do. I'm not going to. I'm not a. I'm not going to construct anything. It's already there. I'm just mapping it. Okay. I will also teach. I will also tell you how I created all these maps. But still, this is just an intro. So in the land use, it's showing what's already there, and I had also have a slope map. So is it flat enough to build a building? Is it okay to build a building here? So temperature, will people be able to comfortable here? So and flood risk, I'm also using flood risk area. So will this area be get flooded? So these are the parameters which I'm going to take today. So and soil quality also I'm going to take. Can I support this building? So means depends on the soil also. Our criteria may change. If my building couldn't be stand in this particular soil, then what the use of building a building high and mighty, and it cracked in some days. So I want to also know the soil type, soil quality is good or not. Okay. So now notice I had also tell you there is a, it's like a throwing all the datas, but I'm doing it in a smarter way. So with these small parameters, I'm analyzing and I'm preparing a site which is suitable for everything. Okay. So first I'm telling you a scenario. Okay. So you are planning a residential housing. That means your own house. So maybe you care more about flood risk and the temperature comfort. Am I right? So whether you are building a construction for your house, you will definitely think about is in this area whether it is good. In Bangalore, I'm staying in a more separate area which is might cool and the temperature is much less. So and flood will not affect that area. I will choose. If I think about it is a highly polluted area, populated area, and will I think about to build a house in a more urbanized area, and which may affect any time by flood. So I will definitely not going to choose that those areas. Okay. So, but if you are an industry developer, so that time you will definitely not going to think about the temperature or flood risk. You will think about, maybe you may think about flood risk, but you may not think about the temperature because work is more important for you. So that time you will think about the soil strength. You will think about whether my office building will be stand in this place. Will the soil can hold this? And whether it is accessible to the roads and transportation, so my employees can reach here easily, so many clients may come to my place. These are the things you may, as an industry developer, you may think about it. Okay, same method but different priorities. Okay, so like this only I'm also going to do something here. So if you had any other scenarios also, you can mention in the chat box. Okay, we will read it later. So now let me break down our steps into 5 super simple steps. Okay, first what I'm going to do, I'm just going to collect the data. Okay, it's like just creating before cooking I will be we will be collecting some ingredients, right? Just like that, before analysis we will go with some datas. So these are the data I had selected, like soil data, slope data, LULC, LST. LST means temperature data, and this is flooded area. Okay, I will also explain, so don't worry. So in this way, each layer is like a different parameters. Okay, going to use these parameters to simplify the task, and I'm going to find a suitability map. Okay. First, I had opened my QGIS. Okay, this is my QGIS. I'm using 3.405. So when you go to download QGIS, there may be so many versions. So you can download the long-term version. Maybe it will be having a less errors in my view. Okay. So after that, you have to download it and you can open the interface. So now you can see the interface, and I had also placed that datas here. So if I want to add a data, I will just go and click add in the layers, add layer, and I will add my raster layers. Okay, I had all my raster layers, so I don't have any other issues. I had placed all my layers in a single folder, so it would be much easier for me to collect the data. Okay, I just put all my datas here. Now I'm going to explain you what are the things, what are the layers, what each layer represents. Okay, first one, I will go with soil layer. So soil layer, it's for suitability. Okay, whether this soil is suitable for means what are the soil present in Bangalore, first of all, because I don't know, right? So I don't know what are the soils present in Bangalore. So in Bangalore there may be different soil. In Mysore there will be a different type of soil, maybe. Okay. So depends on the place, the soil varies. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to see the okay, how is the soil suitability. So whether the soil is good, whether it is having a strong foundation, whether it can be built in a good area, or it may be collapse, the soil may cannot hold a large building. Okay, so these are the things I need to think about. So here you can see I had used in particular, this data is taken from FAO soil data. Okay, so in that it is a vector file I had converted into raster file. Okay, then I had named all these. It will be showing you our FAO code. So I had just extracted the code and mentioned it as it is Luvisols, okay, which means clay accumulation. So soils with clay accumulation. So for like this, each thing is having some more definitions in this. Okay, Lewis, it is showing me about the soil with clay accumulation, and next is Neptizols, which is showing me red tropic soils. So here, this you can see this. This is red tropic soils. So this is the majority in Bangalore, and the next one is of lithosols. So here you can see the lithosols. Lithosols means very shallow over rock. Okay. So lithosols I can see. These are the bit rocky area. So and the last is luvisols. So it will present only in the moderate slope area. So this is the luvisols. So these are the 4 soils especially present in Bangalore. So here you can see the Bangalore study area. So this is, I just put it in a KML format. Okay. So the same one I had mentioned each one. what it is. Okay. So, but when you are seeing a vector data, it will not be showing you what it is. So that time they will be mentioning it as LC. They will be using some codes, but you have to decode the code with the help of FAO itself. They are giving a large PDF, and you have to go and search what's the code, and you can find these names. Okay. So that's all. This is about the soils. Next, I will be explaining about the slope. So, slope data, for to extract a slope data, I had used SRTM, which is of 30-meter resolution, and I had with the DEM data, I had just converted it to slope. Okay, so you can think why she is doing slope, whether it is important. Yes, it's definitely important. So if it is a flat land, it's a perfect for building. Okay, so it is good. And if it is a gentle slope means a bit elevation is there. That's it. So it is also good and manageable. You can live there. You can construct a house there. But if it is a steep slope, it is a difficult one, because there you will be having difficulty of the house may fall, or there may be landslide or something else. So steeper area is not better for um, building a construction. Okay, so only I'm just taking slope as a parameter. Okay, so after this I had converted into three variables: low, moderate, and high. So I can see these points are low slope and moderate and high slopes. Okay, and after that, this is my LULC. So the LULC I had used Sentinel 2. So you should think, means which this is 10-meter resolution. So I gone with this. Okay, you can also use Landsat. It's up to you what means for what purpose you are using it. So I want 10-meter resolution, so it will be giving me higher accuracy. So I'm using land use. Okay, so you can see the build-up areas here: forest, water, and cropland. Everything you can see it here, and you can see this is the urbanized area, very urbanized area. So just remember this. At the last, I will verify. So that time you will be seeing my maps, different maps. Why I had choose a suitable area, suitable site. Okay. So here you can see these are the build-up areas. These much build-up areas is being present in Bangalore. So as you already know, Bangalore is a urbanized area. So these much build-up has been present, and I had also marked croplands, forest, and water bodies. So you can see it. So it's I had also done accuracy assessment. So before creating all these layers, okay. Today my objective is to do multi-criteria analysis. So only I'm just explaining all this, not showing all this. Okay. If I take if I show all these, it will take some time to. It's like a different analysis, right? So for slope, it's a different analysis. For LULC, I'm doing something else. So for LST also, I'm doing something else. So only I'm just going to I'm explaining all these stuffs. Yeah. Okay. So yes, 1 and 4 is almost same soils. It is just their numbers are different. So only had mentioned both as the same one. Okay. When they had given the code, it was like um, first one is LC752B, and the last one is 2C. So it's just a small code difference. So only I had mentioned both in a same one. Okay. So as for LULC, you can see it is I had classified into four classes, and the next one is of LST. Okay, LST means land surface temperature. So you can means land surface temperature also I had used with the help of Landsat. Okay, you can think why she is using Sentinel and why she is using Landsat. Okay, you can go for any thermal bands. I prefer to go for Landsat, and it is having a thermal band. Okay, so if you want, I can also show you something else. So means I just want to show the data sets. That's it. So in Landsat, we are having, I had used Landsat 9. So here you can see the bands. So don't think like whether should you only use coding platform or not. You can do it anywhere. I just want to show you the bands. So I'm shifting here. Okay, you can see band 10. Band 10, it is having, it's in the unit of Kelvin. Okay, so band 10 I had used to convert it into Kelvin, and after that I had converted the Kelvin into Celsius. Okay, so this is one part. So I just want to show you guys. So this is band 10. So which will be as a, it's a thermal band. Okay. So you can also ask me how you converted into Kelvin. So if you want, I can also, I can tell you. Okay. So I can Kelvin to Celsius. I'll be doing it by subtracting 273.75. Okay. So I will use. So you can see if I want to convert band 10 to Kelvin. So if I want to convert this, what I have to use, I'll be using a value called for 1 pixel. It is what it is going to do. It is calculating for each and every pixel. Okay. So here you can see it is having a each and every pixel, each 1 pixels. So for each and every pixels, it is going to calculate. Okay, it is only band 10 is being present here. So what it is doing for each band, I'm giving a value called 10,000 into, so 10,000 into 0.00341802. Okay, so this is one value. This is a this is next one is a scaling factor. This is a scaling factor which is of 149. Okay, scaling factor is same for everything, but this value may change. Okay, so you have to be when you are doing this analysis, you have to be very careful. So I'm just changing the Kelvin. So I'm changing the band 10 to Kelvin first of all, and after that I'm just using Kelvin to Celsius. Kelvin to Celsius. For Kelvin to Celsius, I am using subtracting 273.15. Okay, so to convert to Kelvin to Celsius, for each and every pixels, for example, I'm having a pixel like this. So for each and every pixels, it will be showing me a value called maybe 134 something. It is showing me a value when I convert to Kelvin. So for each and every pixel I'm just minusing this 1 to means minus 273.15. Okay, when I convert this I'm getting an LST, so land surface temperature in Celsius. Okay, I want it as a Celsius, so I'm converting it and you can see it here. It is showing me in Celsius from 35 to 39 degrees Celsius. So these are in Celsius. So LST in Celsius. Okay. So this is how I created it, and I had used band 10 of Landsat to create this. Okay. And the next one is of flood map. Okay, for the flooded area, I had used global surface water datasets. For this also I had used for Google Earth Engine. So to create a flooded and non-flooded area, you can also do it in QGIS or ArcGIS Pro. Okay, you can use raster calculator to identify it. Okay, so what I had done for each and every pixel. So if for a month, for an example, in January, if the water is present in a particular area, it will be taken as a flooded area. Okay. So other than that, it will be a non-flooded area. So I had put it as 0 and 1. 0 means non-flooded area, 1 means flooded area. Okay. So these are the flooded areas. These are the flooded areas which has been happened in Bangalore. Okay. So Now I had all my layers with me. So now I'm going to do a math magic. Okay, so it's like a calculator. I'm going to use a raster calculator to identify it. Okay, so I will be showing you in the raster, and you can see every folder I'm having, every file, it is in raster. Okay, so if my soil data is not in raster, so what I had done, I had converted into raster. Okay, so after this, I'm just going to raster calculator, and these are my layers. Okay, you can see these are my layers. I'm just going to assign weight for each and every layers. Okay, so only I can find which land is suitable for me to create a to build a building. Okay, this is my objective. So I am using soil, slope, LULC, LST, and flood maps to visualize it. Okay, so now let me do the formula. Okay, so I'm just mentioning suitability analysis. So I will delete after this. Okay, you can just see suitability analysis equal to. So I'm just going to create first one. I'm just going to mention LULC of Bangalore. Here I can see LULC of Bangalore, LULC of Bangalore into. I'm having I had created another one table. Okay, that also I can show you. Okay, the first one is for LULC. I'm using the percentage of 30. Okay, I'm going to use 30 percentage, and slope I had used 20 percentage, and for LST, which is land surface temperature, for temperature data I'm using 15 percentage, and for flooded area, which is whether the area is flooded or not, for that I'm using 10 percentage. And the next one is soil data, soil type, I'm using it as 25 percentage. Okay, these are the weighted ranking, which are the weighted I'm going to give. Okay, you can ask me why you had given randomly. No, I didn't give it randomly. Okay, so for to do it for Bangalore, I had gone through some case studies which the researchers have mentioned. So I had also verified whether it is true or not. Okay, so this is the priority. Okay, just like at the first I had told you, if you are going to build a house, you will be thinking about temperature and the means environ or flooded area. So if you are going to build a office, you will be think about the soil capacity, like that, right? So here also I'm depend on the situation and my objective, I'm assigning the weights. Okay, for LULC is my major priority. So you can see, so okay, I will show you later. Okay, so in the LULC, so I am having build up area, so I know which area is vacant. Am I right? So if I'm having a study area like this, if this is my study area, if I know this much area I cannot build any buildings, then I will look for some other areas. So I had given LULC as my top priority. Okay, then the next one is for slope. Slope, why I had given slope? Because I need to build a building which is in flat terrain or moderate terrain, not in the steep, which is like I'm not going to build a house in the mountain top. Okay, so this is not suitable for me, so I'm just going to give it a slope 20 percentage and LST, land surface temperature, of 15 percentage. I'm giving each in every weightage. Okay, and the next one is flooded area, whether this area may get flooded or not, I'm also giving as a priority, and I'm giving 10 percentage. Okay, and the next one is soil, so I'm giving soil more importance, because the soil should have a capacity to hold your um, building. Am I right? So if your building is, I mean, if your soil is not capable of holding that building, then what's the use of building construction there, right? So I'm just giving soil as a 25 percentage. Okay, so now these are the weights I'm going to assign in my weighted means in my table here. So for LULC, what I had given 30 percentage. So here I'm going to mention it as, here I'm going to mention it as 0.30. Okay, so after that I'm adding a plus, because I'm going to means I'm going to add all these layers and I'm going to find the suitability layer. Am I right? So next one, I'm going to use slope. Where is my slope? Here. Double click and I got it here, and I'm adding multiply. Okay, this is my multiply symbol, and after that for slope I had given 0.20. So this is 20 percentage. I'm giving it as minus 0.20. I'm giving everything under 1. Okay, so next one, I'm closing the bracket. After that I'm adding plus. After slope I'm having a LST multiply by, so LST multiply 0.15. 0.15. So if you want to do it for your own study area, whenever you are picking a study area, do some research on it. So go and see so many papers, why they will be giving the reason why they had given the particular ranking for each and every one. Okay. So next is flood. I'm giving flood multiply 0.10. Next plus which I had missed, soil multiply 0.25. Okay, I'm closing the bracket. So I'm just now I'm going to verify what are the things I had given. LULC multiply by 0.30 plus slope multiply by 0.20 plus LST 0.15, and next plus flood map into 0.10 and soil 0.25. You can also compare this. Okay, so I'm just using the same formula, same things. So that I had mentioned here as a percentage. For here, I'm using it in between 1. So it has to be within 1. So I'm using zeros values. So I'm mentioning 0.30, 0.20, 0.15 like that. Okay. So now I'm going to run it. So you can see here it is mentioning expression invalid. Okay, because I should not give this suitability analysis. So I'm removing it. Okay. So to you guys, so you can understand. So I had written suitability analysis. Now I'm removing it. Now you can see it is showing me expression valid. Okay. So I had all the given my layers. Here you can see this is my output layer, and here my output format. Which format you want? There are so many raster formats are there. You can go through it. Okay, I am going with GeoTIFF, and this is my spatial extent. I had already selected. So now I'm going to give the output layer. So I'm going with output. So I will try suitability analysis. Suitability analysis. Suitability analysis of Bangalore. I can also mention Bangalore. Save. Okay, now you can see I had saved in the output. It is my directory. So after that, I'm not going to do anything. Expression is also valid. I'm going to click OK. So now it has analyzed and give me a output. Okay, you can see it is in a means it is in a continuous way. I'm just going to make it as a 3-1, so I can easily analyze what it is. Okay, for this, so you can see I'm going to properties. Actually, multi criteria analysis has been completed. Okay, I had selected 5 layers, and I had given each and every layer at different weights. Okay, depends on the research, and depends on the consultants who had given me some advice. Okay, now I got an idea, and I had used suitability analysis, and I found the output. Now I want to make sure my each and every person or my boss is going to understand this map, right? So if I show anyone, this is the map, will they understand what I had done here? So they will definitely not going to understand because it is showing black and white. Even if I change any colors, they are not going to understand it. So I'm going to make it much more simple. So each and every one, even the older guys can easily understand it. Okay. So I'm going to go to properties. In properties, you can see single band gray. I'm going with single band pseudo color. Okay, here you can see there are so many colors appearing here. I'm going with discrete. Okay, and I can see there is 5. So I want it as 3. So I put it as 3 and apply. Okay. So now you can see my areas. So which is suitable. Now here also I can give it, I can change the values, I can change the colors also. Less suitable, less suitable, moderate suitable, moderate suitable, and here highly suitable, highly suitable. Okay, and I can also change the colors. If I want it as a green, I can give it green, yellow. Yellow is okay for me, and I can change it to red. So I had given it as red. So apply. Okay. So now you can see the highly suitable areas are at the corner. So it is showing me at the borders you can go and build some buildings. Don't build in between. Okay. So it is suggesting me these things. So now I will also verify with build up. You can see the which are the areas which means there is already existing build ups. It is not giving any building means it is not telling me build the area in a means highly populated area. Okay, it is asking me to build a building in the outer of Bangalore, so it is much easy for you. It is not it is also having less slope, you can stay there. This is a visual representation. Okay, I'm just telling with this I can show to my boss that here there it means here in this particular areas I can go and build a buildings. I can build my office or I can build my house. So we can create a means this is site suitability. So these are the best sites which I am proposing. Okay. So like this we can do so many analysis here. Okay. Now this is of suitability analysis. So now I will also tell you some few tips and what are the things you need to notice before that. Okay, because my objective is not to make you understand what is site suitability. I want to make you understand how you can do multi-criteria analysis with means for urban planning, how you can use it, how you can use it for your own priorities. Okay, so for example, if a student once spent 3 days creating a beautiful analysis for park location, but the result should look professional, right? So if they had used uh, think about it, if I had used a land use data of 1990 and I had created a map, so will it be used for anything? So this is an error. You should go for present data. So if you want to do some site analysis or you are going to do any other analysis, you should go for present data. Okay, so the population data from 1995, it is not a perfect location because between these years so many areas has been changed, so I have to focus on the present data. Okay, and the second one, you should not give the weightage like everything is 20, 20, 25, 25. So anyway, you are going to give every percentage, I mean it should be overall 100 percentage, right? It should be 100 percentage at the when you calculate the overall. But you should know how to prioritize. Okay, if you think I need everything, so it is not, it is your analysis is useless. Okay, so you should focus, you should know how to prioritize. Ask these questions like, if I could means if I could only consider one factor, what it would be. Okay, for example, if I consider only LULC, what it would be. So whether my output may change, so you have to think about it. Okay, and the second, ask you another question: what would happen if I ignore this particular factor? Just imagine if you forgot to include the flood factor, then you may means you may be in the vulnerable to flood any times. Am I right? Because you didn't do the analysis, that doesn't mean that area is safe and there is no flood affected area. That means there is no flood in the previous histories, right? So you need to know how to prioritize the factors. Okay, and you should also think about what is your objective. So do you want to focus on building a theme park, or do you want to focus on building a building for your office or your residential area? That you have to think. Okay, at least one criteria you should give above weightage. Okay, don't give every weightage, means don't give every weightage above 25 always, like 25 for each. Just like some people will think like, I want land use, I want slope, I want LST, I want flood, I want soil, so I will go for 25 25 or 20 20 20. You should not go like that. Okay, you should have guts to prioritize. This is my first priority. At any cost, I'm going with this factors which is influencing my project. Okay, so and the next one is we will forget about the reality check. Am I right? So if I create a output, I will believe that this is the right one and this is the perfect one. You should not think um, like that. You should think about. You should prove it with scientifically. So it should be a result that is scientifically proved. Okay. So for that you have to go for some logic. So now you can ask me why you had selected Bangalore as your study area. Because I'm in Bangalore now, so I know which particular areas. Mean I may not know so many areas, but I can understand which are the areas which is highly populated, and where if I find some solution for this, where are the places I can build my buildings. So this is a reality checks. Okay, I know this place, or if this is my new study area, I have to go and verify. So whether this study area is correct or not. You can also go to Google Earth Pro and see what are the things present here. You can also go to each and every streets. You can also see how much population it is having. We can go through all these analysis. Okay, this is like a logical sense. Okay, and you have to think, can I actually build area legally here? So now I had given you a suitability analysis. That doesn't mean it is legally approved, right? So you have next thing you have to think about whether it is legally approved or not, and if there is whether it is a good choice for a residential area. Does this match? So in this particular area, will I able to survive here? So these are the things you should think before starting your project. Okay, so, and the next biggest thing, many people will think like I should include 15 parameters and I will do a biggest analysis. No, okay, it is a foolish thing. So, you should go with 5 criteria, 6 criteria, increase that, but uh, don't do a single criteria, means don't do a single stretch output. Okay, don't think like I'll be using 14, 15 criterias and I will be giving a best result. No, it will be getting confused. Maybe the analysis may not be perfect. Okay, go with 5 and make sure the output you got is right. Verify with the, means you can go to Google Earth Pro and verify whether it is okay or not. Okay, if it's fine, if the analysis which you are providing is right, and check the factors, check the weightage how you are giving. Okay, that also you should check. And you should also check what is the different scenarios, what are the things you can think about, what is your conclusion, what do you want. These are the things you should think. Sorry, these are the things you should prepare. Okay, and that's all for the session. So if you had any queries you can mention, I will try my best to answer you. Okay, so if possible, don't just see this project and you just left the meet and you forget everything. Try to do it for yourself, maybe for your own study area. You can see it is a simple process, so you can do it. So try it once, so you means you'll be having a knowledge to be a decision maker, right? This is a decision making, so you are suggesting someone this area is suitable for uh, building a construction, so this is a suggestion. Okay. So, and what I want to say another thing, is there any other things? Time series analysis also, which is very important. Okay, you should know how to means uh, if you are going for suitability analysis, go for the present time, don't go for the past. So it means it there may be some it will not be provided as the higher accuracies, there are some issues in there. Okay. And now I will also tell you some plugins, so if you want, it's up to you, you can use it. Okay, so the first plugin, so this is my extra tip. Okay, my class has been over. So what I want to means make you understand is how to do multi-criteria analysis. Multi-criteria is nothing. It's just a means I'm using different parameters, and I'm giving weightage, and I'm finding a suitability site. Okay, like this you can go for urban, or you can go for any other areas. You can also search for good hospitals. For that you can also go for some population data. The factors you have to give, it's up to your priority. Okay, so don't think like she had given like this, so I will also follow the same method. No. So for each and every project, it has to be different, so the priorities will be different, and the factors has to be different, the weightage will be different. Okay, but the method is same, so it's just a easy way you can analyze and show them. Okay, now I will be giving you some, it's like just a tip. Okay, so if you want, you can just learn here. So there are some QGIS plugins, because here you had joined to learn something about QGIS. So I'm just going to say some QGIS plugins. So the first plugin I'm going to say about Easy AHP. Okay, it's also a plugin. But I'm not going to show this. You can just take a screenshot and explore that. If you had any doubts or any other queries, you can contact and you can ask me. Okay, you can also follow our website. So if you mailed us and ask a question, we will reply for sure. Okay. So next one is suitability analysis. It's also a plugin. So and the next one means for easy AHP, here you have to give it's a weighted calculation. Okay, just like I had given weight, this is a another calculation, and it is super easy. So you can do so many analysis with the help of this. And the next one is suitability analysis. So this will be streamline all the process in a single stretch. You can complete it. Okay, and the next one is graphic builder. So I don't know whether you had heard about it or not, but these are the tools which I found it is useful. So as a tip, I'm just suggesting you guys. Okay, and the next one is MMQGIS. Okay, this is the extra tools for spatial analysis. Use it, so you will find it better. So QGIS is a open source software, so you can utilize to the most. Okay, today we had a session in multi-criteria analysis. Maybe in the next upcoming webinars, we may be teaching about QPy or some other topics. If you want any other topic suggestions also, you can provide us. So there they will be sending us a form, so feedback form, you can fill the form and you can tell us what inspired you the most, whether you like the session, or you can also mention what's the next topic you need. Okay, so that's all for the session. Thank you so much.